Fired up to have Bozoma Saint John, CMO of Netflix, join us next. Boz just took the role in June, previously holding C-suite roles at Endeavor, Uber, Apple, and Pepsi. She serves on the boards of Girls Who Code and Vital Voices. Welcome, Boz.
Thank you. Hey, Gary, what up?
What up, Boz? Boz, right off the bat, before I get into the actual question, what does it actually feel like to be walking around on Earth being the coolest CMO in the world? Both because of who you are as the human and because of the company you get to now be at the top of from a marketing standpoint. Is it weird? Like, how are you feeling out there?
Yeah, I feel like a badass. How about that?
Good for you.
Yeah, yes. But I felt that way from birth. You know what I mean? I've been walking around this planet like I've had something to contribute to it for a very long time. So this hasn't really changed anything for me internally, although I can see from the excitement of other people that this is a pretty big deal. So I feel good about that.
Before I go into the question, one last thing. How many times have you been texted by your friends or former contemporaries or your inner circles about Queens Gambit?
Ooh, yes, so much. I mean, first of all, shocker. I mean, honestly, just a shocker, right? I think sleepy hit. Nobody knew that it was coming, but it felt pretty big pretty quickly, and the fact that there are people who have seen upticks in chess playing, the sales,
the data, the searches.
It's outrageous, but so cool that, we have a young woman, right, who is star in it. And she plays a genius in this particular role is incredible. I think it's just like a testament to the fact that storytelling can change perception across culture. So dope. Period. Yes.
Which consumer behavior shifts will be key in driving growth in 2021 from your perspective?
Well, okay. So Gary, this is the thing is that I am endlessly curious about people, right? I mean, it's part of the reason why I'm in marketing, because I really love consumer behavior. And this time has just been one of those where I don't think any of us have the answer, right? We're all sitting trying to figure it out day by day. It's like if you had a plan that you wrote 18 months ago, that joint is trash. There's nothing, I don't care who you are, how smart you think you are. If you think you know what's going to even happen 12 months from now, you are lying. There's no way for us to understand that. So it's better to understand what is happening right now. Right at this very moment, how are you paying attention? So obviously, as we're talking, marketing for the now, this is the key. What is the behavior that is happening in this very moment that we could pay attention to? Now, I'm not saying it's a predictor. It's just that hey, open your eyes. One of them, you use this word in talking to Kofi about juxtaposition, which I actually think is such an interesting idea, that behavior is in the extremes at this moment. There are no middles. There are no middles. It's there's this huge juxtaposition that I'm seeing in what we call conserving, and then on the other hand, hoarding. And I'm not passing judgment on either one of those. It's just a behavior
It's an observation.
Yeah, it's think about this, right? All of us are at the beginning of the pandemic, and even I would say today, talking about how much more we can do with less. All of those memes started to rise. I'm so grateful for what I have. I'm thankful for this roof over my head. I'm thankful for the food I eat.
Gratitude.
Yeah, all of that, right? We started thinking about the things that we actually need in order to live. Do I need all this stuff? No, I don't, right? And then on the other side, it's oh, toilet paper, is that available? No. You know why? Because people start hoarding it. Oh my goodness, Amazon, booming business, because we just keep seeing packages arrive at people's doors. This idea that there is no sort of middle ground, that either we're on this side or this side, and at the same damn time.
Yeah.
The most incredible behavior I think I've ever witnessed.
What, you've been incredible. Actually, rattle it off real quick, because I think it's inspiring. Rattle off the places you've been leading up marketing over the last 5 or 6 years.
Oh gosh, well, 5 or 6. Let's see, Beats Music, acquired by Apple. Then I helped to create Apple Music, ran iTunes, also movies, books, and news. And then Endeavor. I'm sorry, Uber. Ooh, look, I'm forgetting. Uber, then Endeavor, and now at Netflix.
So you've been at these very progressive, very iconic companies. What's been most different about Netflix from even those really progressive companies that you've been at? What was the first, I always think it's cool when you get under the hood. Obviously, you know all about it. You decide to take the job. You go through your due diligence. They tell you, you've got your intuition. You are extremely to the pulse, which is why you and I have been friends for so long. But now you walk in and virtually, I guess these days, the halls, what's the big observation of like, oh,
yeah. You know what? Okay. So caveat is that I've been at the job for 4 months.
Right. So you're still tasting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also not in the building. Right.
Yeah.
So I actually really love the culture of Netflix. It's much written about. Clearly, it's like even Reed just, published a book, The No Rules Rules, right? Which talks about a Netflix culture. I just think it's a fascinating place to be, in that there really are the empowered people that are inside of the company doing the things that they do because they are truly the best at what they do, and that this empowerment allows for freedom to actually make changes and make decisions about the business in ways that I have never seen before. I think it's a really big point, especially as we look at like the future of corporate cultures. Clearly, as we've just said, I've been in a lot of places, where hierarchy is important, where you have to get alignment. My favorite word when it comes to work, because it's like, alignment is like the death of good ideas. It's like, oh my God.
It's back to what we were talking about with speed, the elimination speed.
Yes.
Business is sports. And if speed is not part of your equation, you are vulnerable.
Listen, all the way vulnerable, because honestly, it's like, and then why do you have people that you don't empower? Like why
hire them?
Like why? Like if they've got to ask for permission for every single thing they do, then you're not actually like utilizing them to the best of their ability. And so for me, it's been a really incredible time in the last 4 months, even though really strange, because starting a job like this in the pandemic is just like ridiculously crazy. I mean, it's literally so wild. It's like, I remember I was having this conversation with Ted, and he was like, well, folks who try something new in this pandemic, especially a big job, he was like, I think those are the ones who like are the most adventurous, the ones who might win. So I was like, oh God, I hope that comes true for me. But it's been really, really interesting. I think for lots of people who are trying to refine who they are, and redefine it, and perhaps even try something new that like, perhaps we are the crazy ones, and that's the beauty.
I agree. Let me do some rapid fire in my last 2 minutes. I'm going to throw a couple things that are very contemporary. I'd love to get your hot takes. Where do you stand on influencer marketing?
Oh, I always think it's good, but like, what is this buzzword that we're using? Influencers are just people who are closer to the center of the heat of the thing, and that thing could be anything. It could be cooking, and it could be shoes. It could be fashion. It could be medicine. But the thing is that like, we've created this idea and this meme as if they're only the cool kids. And that's not, influencers are not just the cool kids. Influencers are the people who are closest to the heat.
I agree. And then when you contextualize it, for example, if Queens Gambit had an influencer campaign, before that movie comes out, the chess influencers on Instagram are not necessarily the cool kids, but they're the relevant kids.
That's absolutely right. Yes, they are at the center, and that's what influence is all about.
What do you think about SMS marketing? We've all as American consumers have protected our text number, but we're starting to see it, and I've been surprised, but it's starting to open up. Thoughts on that?
Personalization is key. It's like, I don't care if it's SMS or email or Facebook paid social. It's like, if you're not personalizing to me, then I don't want to see that trash. So
bring value.
I'm like, listen, let's not do the mass message thing.
Do you think
find a way to make it personal?
Do you think that that's one of the bigger vulnerabilities of television commercials? They have to be vanilla and they're trying to reach everyone, thus they're reaching nobody?
Yes, absolutely. It's like the TV ad and billboards and all of the mass media type of spaces are supposed to be the anchor. They're supposed to be the big one that's like, okay, now that you have context for what I'm about to tell you, now I'm going to tell you why it's important to you. And so therefore now SMS, email, like any other social, like I just said, any other place where I can get more personal, that's to help to get to the center of what I want to communicate with you.
Do you think we've gotten to such a digital personal world that the costs associated with that anchor, the production costs and the distribution costs of those things are really expensive? Thoughts on the price value of that these days?
No, not really. I mean, the thing is that it still holds true, right? It's like you're still getting a lot of reach for the for the media. And so I don't think the price issue is a problem. I just think that we've got to reevaluate the priorities. You know, what is going to be the most important thing? Is it that I want lots of reach? I want lots of coverage everywhere?
What happens when you're Netflix and you have that kind of awareness?
Well, I mean, that's the thing, is that the awareness is not just about the brand, but now you got to have awareness on titles, you know, like all of the shows. And listen, it's like, if you don't know what Queens Gambit is, now I got to go tell you. So that's
good news for you and your company. Almost everybody knows what Queens Gambit is. It's such a pleasure. I'm cheering for you daily.
Oh, thank you, Gary. Same.